What's up, peeps? Joining me today is Callagy, a successful entrepreneur who heads up UnBlinded Mastery, where he inspires other entrepreneurs to unleash their gifts through his integrity-based sales training. He also has a side hustle where he's the founder and president of Callagy Law, which he has grown to a team of over 100 and has 6 offices in 5 states across the nation. Pretty impressive so far, but let's throw in the fact that Sean is legally blind. Yep, a legally blind lawyer, which I'm sure we'll get into all about how that plays out in a field filled with books, journals, and stacks of paper. The exciting thing about Sean isn't the fact that he's legally blind and still doing amazing things in his life, but that his vision extends beyond his eyesight. It's bigger than physically seeing something. His vision is something we're going to learn all about today. Sean, thanks so much for being on the show. Really great to have you.
Frank, it's great to be here, and thanks everybody for listening. It's an honor and privilege.
Great. So I've had a lot of fun kind of just digging into who you are and a little bit about your backstory. So really excited to have you and really excited to share it with the audience. So before we get into some of the Q&A, I'd really love for you to give your version and a glimpse of the day in the life of Sean, who you are, and what makes you tick.
Well, thanks so much, Frank. So what makes me tick is I believe that God has given us all talents and we have choices, and we can bury them, we can squander them, or we can amplify them. And I choose to believe that it's our duty, responsibility, mission to amplify them and have a lot of fun in that process. My kids make me tick. I've had the privilege of creating business ownership instead of operatorship, which allowed me to coach 1,000 of my kids' games as they were growing up. I missed 9 games building business and entrepreneur, not saying it in a look at me fashion, but saying that's what's possible when we follow a formula. Finally, I'm here down at the beach in New Jersey, quarantining during Corona, and it's been an interesting process for sure. It's suboptimal, but if you're going to do it, the Jersey Shore, which may be, Frank, I know you're in Connecticut, but across the nation, one of the most misinterpreted places in the world, because like dolphins swim by, whales, seagulls everywhere, turtles, amazing things. And one wouldn't think that's New Jersey. So love the outdoors, love the ocean and nature. So thanks for asking.
Great. Yes. So again, kind of learning a little bit about your journey. You built, from what I've read and kind of dug into, you built a successful firm, had an exit there, rebuilt a new firm, which you have today, which you call your side hustle, which is pretty impressive. Anyone tuning in who has a side hustle that has over 100 employees and 6 different offices, that by any definition is a very successful side hustle. But the really beauty of that, from what you've told me, is that business that, of course, you've grown and I'm sure you're very passionate about has allowed you to do other things in life where you're really maybe changing some stuff and building a legacy. So why don't you give us a little bit into your journey and let us know how you got to where you are today. We'd love to learn more about you.
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Frank. So the quick few minute, maybe 3-minute nutshell is my mom at 5 years old finds out I'm blind. She's asking herself the questions, are going to go blind. Like her father, how is he going to make a living? How is he going to have, let alone support a family? Why is this happening? And fast forward to today, and my mom, thankfully, is still alive. We talk and pray together frequently, and she's an incredible mentor, incredibly strong figure in my life. And she didn't go to college. She never had money. In fact, she pushed a hot dog cart when I was a baby. And at the same time, she, along with other people in my family, always inspired me to dream. So I grew up as an athlete. I had my vision at that point. I played baseball, football, and wrestled in high school. I went on to be Division I player at Columbia University, started all 4 years, was captain my senior year. And athletics were my life. And I had dreamed of being a professional baseball player. I was on my way to getting drafted. And I was told that, that the summer before I was going to get drafted, I began to have the first issues with my eyesight, retinitis pigmentosa, the same eye condition that Steve Wynn of the Wynn Hotels in Vegas has. And so I ended up not getting drafted, was devastated, didn't know what else to do, ended up taking a year working in New York City, and then went to law school. So I go to law school. And while I was there, I realized upon succeeding, because I wasn't a great student in undergrad. I was like a B student at Columbia. You're like, well, hey, at Columbia, it's a great school, but I really didn't have great study habits. I wrote papers. I was a decent writer, so I was able to get Bs. And I realized when I succeeded in law school, graduating with honors, that there was this differential that people create in the results, not based on IQ, SAT, LSAT, GRE, not based on that, or even EQ, but based on something else. And it seemed like it was elusive and complex for most, but I was able to, and it didn't make sense, Frank, that I ended up as a Division I athlete. I'm 5'10". I was definitely fast. I had a lot of things going for me, but a lot of kids did. And a lot of kids had that same dream, but somehow I end up there. Same thing in law school, incredibly bright people, a lot of people smarter than me. So how is it that I end up with all these dream job offers, top of my class, making things happen? I'm like, what is that dynamic? And people are like, oh, you're successful. And to my mom and dad, like, you should be so proud. And I'm like, yeah, but like, why? Like, what's the story? And that was in me. Why did the Miracle on Ice team win the gold in 1980? How did Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman when he shouldn't? Like, how do these things happen that don't seem to make sense? So I graduate from law school and I start working, and I realized that the people there weren't happy. They didn't have freedom. They didn't have a line of sight to go into where they wanted to go. And I sure didn't either, because I thought it worked like athletics. Like, hey, do the best job, win the race, be the fastest, be the best, and it all works out. And I'm finding out that's not at all how it works out. And I felt like I had no control over my money, my time freedom, and ultimately my magic, the fulfillment, the pride, the connection, the experiences emotionally that we'd all want in life. So I set out to search for a formula and a resolution. I found it sequencing from Tony Robbins to Jay Abraham to How to Make a Fortune from Public Speaking to lots of other people's work. And in a nutshell, I said, I'm going to quit my job, $100,000 in debt from law school. I'm going to start my own law firm on my credit card to see if all this stuff works. Is Tony Robbins right? Is Jay Abraham right? Is personal development, these walls in the bookstore, does it really work? And my God, it did. And I quit my job. I built a 40-person law firm in 2 years. I had financial abundance, like mind-blowingly, going from broke, 100K in debt, living in a small apartment, to owning a beach house, holding my son on his first birthday on the roof of it, which, by the way, we're sitting in this morning. So my life has stood for, overall, like through that point, the idea that we don't see what we don't see. UnBlinded is about not seeing what we don't see, about all kinds of things they're right there in front of us to create the money, time, and magic we want. Because I didn't live a life that was scale, build, scale, build, scale, build. It was scale and build to a point that I could have freedom in my time to spend my kids' childhood with them. So that's the beginning.
Great. And I like how that ties in, because a lot of people look at success different ways. Everyone has different versions of success, what success means to them. And of course, you've perceptually seen, like, you have it both. You've built the business. You've kind of got the financial freedom aspect of it, but also the freedom to be able to do what you enjoy, do what you love, spend time with your family, as you mentioned, not missing, being able to be there for your kids for sports and things like that. So there's a real balance of what success means to some people. And I think you've been able to achieve that by also having a lot of passion in doing what you love. So UnBlinded is, as I've checked it out, seems like very exciting, lots of fun. The people you surround yourself, and even you, ton of energy in the videos I've seen and checked out. So you work with a lot of different people, not only on the law side and legal side with the team, leading a great team and being surrounded by awesome people, but also on the UnBlinded side. What is a piece of advice that you would give to people tuning in that you've learned and you would love to be able to share? We got everyone's attention right now. What's a piece of advice from Sean?
Yeah, Frank, and everybody, there's a formula. Like, there is a formula to how we get the results we want, and we don't follow it, we get pain. Because my life has been far from perfect. I'm still great friends with the mom of my children. It wasn't because of working long hours. We got divorced, and that was and is one of the great pains of my life. And it's because we both didn't follow a formula to get there. So, and there's other things that I've had. I've trusted too much. I've not had agreements that were clear, where I believe people do what they said. I mean, I have a long list of things. I made way more mistakes than I've done things right in that journey. So there is the road to a beautiful life and mastery is paved with lots of errors and pain. But the easiest thing to understand is there's really 3 components to producing the results we do. It's what's our mapping and process. There's a model to that always. What's our influence mastery level with integrity to go from low to yes? and where's our self-mastery. And anything I have and everything I don't, and everything that's been wonderful and everything that hasn't been, I could dial it right into that. And so over time, hopefully for all of us, we are accelerating in how much more efficiently we're creating the money, time, and magic we want in our life, in a nutshell. So have a formula, follow a formula. Want to adopt our formula, fantastic, or some formula, but make sure it's there and it makes complete sense to you. And when you don't follow it, that's when you have pain. And when you do, you have lots of fun and lots of freedom.
I'm really impressed with how you kind of really are embracing life. You're enjoying life, and again, kind of seeing things. I think it comes through your failures, admitting the failures. You said you've made a lot of mistakes. You've learned a lot. I think people get defeated by mistakes. People give up if they get your butt kicked. How do I get back up? How do I dust myself off and continue to go? You've used those failures and those mistakes to be better, to do better, and to apply them so that you don't make the same ones again, but also apply them into your life to be a better version of yourself.
Thank you.
If we can look at what you're doing again, kind of on both levels, what's the fuel that keeps you going? You get out of bed in the morning and you're excited for the day ahead of you. What is that thing that really drives you and says, man, I could do this every day for the rest of my life?
I think it goes back to that idea of the talents. So I do believe I'm been given talent. We all have. And I believe I'm responsible for mine. And I invite other people to view it that way as well. And so every day, my question I'm asking myself is, how do I create the largest impact I can while taking care of my immediate responsibilities in front of me? I'm innovating consistently and growing and having fun and celebrating. I definitely have fun and celebrate, but I think one of the great challenges, there's so much to talk about, Frank, I wish we had days, right? But one micro distinction that I would share, one key 2 millimeter shift, as Tony Robbins would say, would be that people tend to innovate horizontally instead of vertically. So they jump from like thing to thing to thing. Like a horizontal innovation would be, okay, we got a market. You open up a book in marketing, there's like 70 concepts that you could do. So now I'm going to really focus on podcasts. No, now I'm going to focus on shooting videos. Now I'm going to focus on direct mail. And when things don't go the way we would hope, we tend to like move to the next thing and falsely conclude it doesn't work. I'm going to hire salespeople. Oh, salespeople aren't good, or I'm just not good at training salespeople. Vertically innovating within the thing, like vertically innovating to solve for just the next challenge, because every one of those things works, every single one. It's a question of what are the vertical innovations within that structure, connecting it to other horizontals, right? Connecting the vertical to other things horizontally, that we create our most massive acceleration. Said differently, UnBlinded feeds Callagy law. Callagy law feeds UnBlinded. I own a financial and insurance company, which feeds both. I've created a Silicon Valley startup with a gentleman, a great person on YouTube, Chris Crone. And Chris and I have this concept, and it's like at launch level, that services all of it. So it's how do you keep connecting dots, finding amazing teammates, because the only way I have freedom from Callagy law, and I still lead it, but the only way I'm able to have such, smaller touches is because I have incredible and remarkable people doing it. And by the way, had to go through a lot of folks that it didn't work out incredibly along the way over the years. And some in the old days, I would have blamed them for it. And now I would say, you know what, even if they did things out of integrity or things I perceive to be out of integrity or wrong, I take responsibility for where my accountability structures were, where my process mastery was in leadership. So simple point, innovate horizontally, connect it to other verticals horizontally, and you have magic. Don't jump, don't hop, jump, hop, giving up on things, dig deeper, create innovation, and those roots grow massively.
And we do. I get where you're coming from, because we see that all the time, and quite often people will try things and give up, and then just say, okay, this doesn't work. I tried that, and how they tried it probably may not have been the right way, or their approach, whatever it may be. So So love that. And I also really respect, as a leader, I have a team too, and I kind of really resonate with you there the same way. Without my team and them doing what they do and showing up every day and having passion, I wouldn't be able to run my company either. So really respect that as a leader, knowing that you got a great team behind you and that you take responsibility. I feel like the same way, the blame, the blame game doesn't work, and ultimately you're the accountable one. So totally respect that. Just wanted to point that out.
And I Frank, respect that in you, your commitment to unlocking people's potential, their acceleration growth, and everything that you're up to in the world and with your team. Like, that's present. And I'm super grateful for like you and this time, because so many people never get to a place that you have, and so many other people have, and you stand as inspiration and light in what's possible.
Yes, absolutely. So on the flip side of that, I'd love to get your thoughts here, because again, you've seen a lot, you've been around a lot of people. What's something you could change if you could, if you had the ability, something you see all the time, and you can, again, wave your wand or whatever it might be, but make a change out there. What's something that you would change if you could?
Yeah, I think what I would change if I could would be in the legal system. The amount that people are encouraged to and do lie. And the system is set up the way that rules are enforced to encourage lying, which is why people are so frustrated with lawyers, the legal system. And I have empathy for lawyers, judges, people, because it's so overwhelming for so many people at time that it like manifests and it's like survival of the fittest, and who's the best liars. And so the space we took up is how do we disrupt that? And I'm fortunate to have 2 top 100 national jury verdicts, being one of only 2 attorneys in the country out of 1.2 million to have that between 2014 and 16. And in both cases, we're dealing with people who are lying massively. In one, we sent an attorney to prison, federal prison, for 30 months. And the others, there was a punitive damage award for like $16 million, all because of lying. But my heart is heavy, because without massive skill sets to understand what to do with lying, then most lawyers default to, well, it's he said, she said, and the judge doesn't really care, all of which is true without the highest level of mastery skill set. So what I would change is I would arm the legal world and judges with the clarity that we can really stop lying, and we can discourage it massively instead of the system that it is, which would dramatically reduce legal costs, restore a sense of integrity to our legal system, our congressional system, our executive office, all of it, not political left or right, just all of it. And I would shift that, and then I take on the media next in integrity.
Well, anyone tuning in, and of course you look at things and you think, that's a big one there, Sean. That's a lot of work. But the thing is, we need more Seans in the world. We need more Seans that are thinking the way you think. And I got to imagine you're not alone out there, and especially with you leading a team, you've got the right people on your team. But there's other firms out there, there's other lawyers who think just like you and want to end it. And it's a matter of everyone contributing and playing their part. I think if we can sit back and say, hey, I'm not going to do anything, and what's the sense? Everyone's going to lie, I'm going to lie too. Or you can say, no, I'm going to be different, and I'm going to draw the line here. And I think we need more of that. So again, a lot of respect for you there for really pointing that out. So one of the favorite things I love to do on the show is really talk about, or give my guest a chance to talk about where we're going in the future. So today we've been able to really reflect on a lot of things, what's important in life, going through a COVID crisis. And maybe if I asked you this question, 2-3 months ago, maybe it would be different, maybe it wouldn't, but where's the future look like? What do you think? Just your thoughts. And this is kind of a blanket, really open question for you, but where are we going to be in 5 years?
Yeah. So the first thing that pops to mind, which I don't want to sound self-serving, so I'll just drop it at the end. What I think the future holds is transparency. I think we have moved towards an endless continuum of absolute transparency. And I think that influence, I'm very confident that influence is the only attainable superpower. And as transparency increases, the value of marketing claims decrease. And people are going to have more and more of an ability to see it, taste it, feel it, smell it, right? All of it. And our skills rising and our ability to masterfully deliver on our craft is going to be much more accessible to people. So for example, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, you're an attorney, you're an accountant, you're a realtor, a coach, a trainer, a speaker, a chef, whatever it is, we're going to have more and more transparent ways to assess, not like just through reviews, but experiential demonstrations through sampling, through literal lie detection systems that are going to become more and more pervasive, which we're already seeing in the economy, and review systems and transparency and Amazon delivery. Everything's going to be so much faster and transparent. And I see that evolving. So staying ahead of that, we've created something at UnBlinded called the Real Raw Role Play to demonstrate who people are, what they are in the context of selling, people that claim to have great skill sets in selling, trained in selling, or lead, as an advancement in that transparency. And I do believe that we are moving towards that level of absolute decision-making transparency. Websites were the beginning. The next evolution was video, podcasting more, and we're moving towards demonstrations and experiences that give people even more transparency before they buy.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the role playing. I did see that on the UnBlinded. I believe I saw it on the UnBlinded website. But I'd love for, before we wrap up, to do two things. One, it looks like you do a lot of events with UnBlinded. I checked them out. You're doing some cool stuff virtually. And this episode won't drop for a couple weeks, but it looks like you're pretty consistent there with doing some stuff. So can you tell us a little bit more about the events that you put on UnBlinded? It looks like you do some sessions where you're kind of doing some kind of giving away some of your equity as far as what you're sharing, and then there's some other events that you'll probably do in person. But then two is outside of UnBlinded, if people want to find you, where they go and where can we direct someone to go to learn more about Sean and of course UnBlinded?
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Frank. So our first event was a 1,600 person event in the Meadowlands Exhibition Center in New Jersey. And that was the byproduct of all the formula that we're talking about. And yes, we are relentlessly consistent, and we've created the UnBlinded movement to help people, again, see the fun excitement of exponentially growing their sales, see what they don't see about the fun excitement of exponentially growing their sales. And every day, we're like the 125th consecutive weekday, every weekday, we hold an 8:30 a.m. huddle. We have hundreds of people on live every day, and we are there to deliver what we're proclaiming and aspiring to as the greatest way to start your day, from 8:30 a.m. Eastern time to 9 every day. And then we also do the Real Raw role plays, and that's on every day at 3 p.m. Eastern time, where you have these incredible people, two contestants, 3 judges. We've had Les Brown, Joseph McClendon, Brad Sugars, founder of Action Coaching. Frank, love to have you on. If you know anybody, right, attorney to author to yourself, anyone that you think would be a great judge, great contestant, we're in the process of naming Influencer of 2020, just beginning through Influence Offs. Like American Idol meets March Madness meets professional boxing in the space of entrepreneurship and influence, as well as we're going to open it up to having Influence Offs, aka like the American Idol situation where more and more people are involved. It's all for free. No cost, no anything, all designed to unlock the reality that influence is a superpower, and UnBlinded, we have it, and you can get it there. And we're having fun with it. So that's what we're up to. And the way to find it is UnBlinded Movement on Facebook or unblindedhuddle.com to sign up for the huddles.
Great. I will I'll drop all that in the show notes for everyone, make sure everyone has access to that, and we'll definitely direct them there. Sounds really exciting, and love the fact that you mentioned you're doing this as this is a give back, so it's like really a way for people to take advantage of it, and not there's no kind of ulterior motive there. So again, really really awesome. We'll link that in here. Sean, thank you so much for being on. It's been great to have you, hearing your story, hearing what you're doing as far as from your business success, but also some of your personal things you shared. So again, thank you. I wish you well, and I can't wait for this episode to drop.
Frank, thank you, and everyone. So grateful.
All right.